Hi everyone, thank you everyone for joining us, Evie Unbounded. And today I have amazing guests. I always have amazing guests. I realize that I am so blessed. I always forget how lucky I am. But uh, she's actually a YPO sister, and we are in this little YPO group that I'm so happy to be part of. And I'm actually going to see her coming up for dinner, and I literally just saw her this week. So it was perfect that she's on my podcast today, and she's supposed to visit me in person. I even try to make her come over for the studio because I offer a boba drink for her, but she doesn't feel so well today. But if she still look beautiful, so I'm gonna work on my guest, Vanessa. Hi,
Thank-
Vanessa.
Hi, Evie. Thank you for having me. I'm so sad I can't be with you in person, but
Yeah.
thank you for just having me on the podcast, being such a great energy that I met in YPO. And so honored to be here with you.
Well, Vanessa, you know what you miss. I don't want to tease you, but
Oh my
if you come
gosh,
here,
I'm
you're gonna
so
have
sad.
boba.
Oh
So
my God.
Vanessa and I, we both love food and we love Asian food. So boba is one of those things that we never wanted to miss. So, like I said earlier, the way I'm like trick her to come over is I will get you a boba. But since now we can, we schedule the boba next time.
Yes,
Yeah.
we'll just have our boba date separately.
Yes. So Vanessa, tell us about your company Kombucha at Health-Ade. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna go straight to it because I actually love kombucha because I'm trying to be healthy. I know I don't look like it. No, I'm gonna take that back because your word is so powerful. I'm trying to be healthy, and I try to cut off food that is not serve me the best interest. So kombucha is one of those things that I get to love and enjoy. And your company is actually, and I say forerunner because, or maybe me, because I just start getting into the health fitness, wellness, industry. So now I notice all the kombucha, all the wellness drinks, but I know your company was at least way ahead of all the people now focused on wellness, right? So when did you start the company?
Yeah, I'm glad you're into it. We started in 2012. So
See?
I'm the co-founder of Health-Ade Kombucha, and we were one of the first ones really out there on the national level. It's interesting because the category of kombucha is over $1 billion in the US. But you're right, there's not a lot of people who really like know about it yet. Like it hasn't hit the mainstream. But how me and my co-founders got into it, we just are lovers of business. We wanted to call something our own. We were trying to come from a place of what's the pain, what's the problem we're trying to solve. And a
Hmm.
little known fact is that we were trying to actually cure hair loss from kombucha.
What?
It wasn't, I know, so I don't even think you know this about our story.
No. Well,
We,
one thing is, for my audience, because I think this is an interesting fad. And then this also like empower like girlfriends about because my show is all about empower women. You started this with your then boyfriend, well, your boyfriend then, now husband, and your best friend, right? So
well, other way around. So I started with my best friend
friend,
and
okay.
her now husband. Yeah. So it
Oh,
was,
so
but you
other way
got
around.
like, but the best friends, and then they are now husband, and then
Wow.
he's obviously become a very close friend of mine too, probably my closest guy friend.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. And like, it's always like Dinah's, sister from another mister for me. So
Yeah.
I would say the better success of Health-Ade is that not only are they still married and as strong as ever, but we're still best friends. And so it's just a co-founding relationship that has not only lasted through like create a strong brand, but even stronger afterwards too. So
Yeah.
I'm so proud about that.
And I definitely want to
Um,
talk about that because how you and your girlfriend well, you're gonna get to that, like how you come up with the idea. And you were saying it was actually about hair loss. And and I thought it was just me because I wasn't focused on or pay attention to wellness. But you're right. I mean, when you started Health A, I don't think kombucha was that popular, right? I mean, is
it
it
wasn't.
okay?
It
Okay.
wasn't at all. It's probably a very undercover product that people on the like very early curve of health and wellness would be in the
Mhm.
know about, but definitely not the way it is today. And when we started, Justin, the male of our trio, he actually came home
Mhm.
um, one day and he was so distraught because his hairdresser said he was going to be bald by 30 years old.
Mm.
And we thought that was a huge opportunity, right? The pain and problem of so many people around the globe. And he happened to work for a hair loss company at the time. He said, look, this is a huge issue, a huge problem. If we can create an all natural solution, wow, we'll really be like solving a big issue. So we had anecdotally heard about kombucha to help with hair loss. So we started brewing kombucha in our kitchen, putting the culture on Justin's head to really see if it's going to help his hair regrow or
Seriously?
prevent hair loss.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
it was a whole other life. And we would
Oh my
actually give away the
God.
kombucha. So we would give it to our friends or family because we didn't need the beverage. We were just, that was a byproduct because we just cared about the hair loss product. And so,
Wow.
at the end of the day, we're like, okay, we're not clinicians. We're not going to be running a, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial. We don't have the funds to do that. Why don't we just bottle the beverage? All our friends and family said it tasted great. So why don't we just bottle it, sell at the farmer's market? We'll make some money back over the summer, and then we'll move on to another business, whatever that may be.
Wait, is this your first business? What was your background? Because this is really entrepreneur like mind and chemist almost, you know?
Yeah. So it was our first business, all three of us. And
Oh wow.
my background is in science and biochemistry. My
Uh,
co-founder, she has a background in biochemistry and nutrition. And
mhm.
Justin, he's a musician, but I think the trait that all three of us share is this kind of entrepreneurial spirit around, well, if we can't get in through this door, we're going to go in through the window and we're going to
Mhm.
try and pivot and make it work and figure out, the next forward step that's best for the business. And we just love this idea of building. And so that's kind of where we all really came together aside from our friendship. And then that's how we really started with Health-Ade, is from a hair loss to Health-Ade. And then we started to sell the beverage in the farmers markets. We
Yeah.
started selling out that first market in March 2012 was our first ever bottle sold, and 11 years ago, and we kept on selling out every weekend at the farmers markets. And then that's how we got our start.
That's amazing because even before I got into the wellness industry, because, as I get older, I'm like, shoot, I better watch my health. I better start getting into it. And, kombucha, when you go to any aisle, when you go Trader Joe, when you go to supermarket, and it doesn't even have to be, like the wellness supermarket. Like it's so easy to find your product. It is
Mm.
everywhere. And then the local, I always remember it. And in fact, when we first met, we were talking about get to know each other. And then when you told me you were the co-founder for Health-Ade, I was like, wait, what is that? And they said the kombucha with and then I was like, you would know, it's the local. And I was like, oh my God, that's yours. Yes, of course I know your product because I bought it. And
Hmm.
it was so accessible. You're right. So I can't believe you first started in farmers market and now is everywhere. It literally is everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, like the easiest way that we knew to get our product out to market was go to the farmers market because that's where we shopped. And
Mhm.
we were so green and just not knowledgeable about how to distribute food, how to distribute beverages. We didn't know about distributors. And so we had to learn that over time. But I think what really gave us that push was, in addition to the entrepreneurial spirit, like me, Dinah, and Justin, we just share this tenacity to want to push it. And so, like, for me, like, there is no answer beyond winning. And so to
Mhm.
me, I'm like, okay, how do we become in all the Whole Foods? How do we become the kombucha of Air One? How do we get placed in like all the Targets around the US? So
Yeah.
it was like this spirit of like winning and grit and pushing forward. And I think that really formed our culture of a whole company of people who wanted to win and win in a way that was aligned to our brand and what we were, and push forward this idea of wellness and high quality kombucha. So it was very much like a shared mission across our whole company.
And you know what? I'm like impressed with you even more, the fact that I was gonna ask your background because, when we connected, we always wanted to have that connection. We kind of skipped the business side of it, right? I mean, we never talk about what we do for work. Maybe we should, but
Yeah.
we passed that point. So I didn't know like this was actually your first business. So, because the company is so successful, I would, and then this is me assuming, right? Like I would think that you have business finance background and this is probably your second or third company to came like with a company so powerful and strong. But I think this is very inspirational and inspire other is like, don't say you can't do something just because finding excuses like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not a salesperson. I'm not a marketing person. I mean, your background was like science, and from there you
Yeah.
started this. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, like, yeah, it was our first business. And, I think about kind of your like Evie Unbounded, right? It's kind of like there are no boundaries once you really put your mind to something. Like when you say that, because when I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs that are kind of stuck, it's like they're not like able to move forward. They're not able to take that first step. And with us, it was more of this like, I wouldn't even say courage, maybe like ignorant bliss a little bit around
Yeah.
like what we don't know.
Right,
And we
right,
were
right.
so excited and adrenaline pumping around what we could create, what we might create. But it was this like combination of ignorant bliss, like youthful energy, but also like excitement around like what we could build.
Mm-hmm.
And, for me, it was always like, wow, we could have impact on gut health if like someone really drinks this for their gut health benefit, right? Like
Yeah.
to know that and feel that and even hear consumer feedback was so powerful time after time. So like that really started to fuel the why behind what we did.
And how you even like from to scale so fast, I mean, 10 year from farmers market to now, literally you can find it everywhere. And then when I say find it everywhere is even when I go to like a small store, like a small like cafeteria, like when I even go to cafeteria or even just the airport when they have selling good, they always have your product. They have Health-Ade as one of the selection for their drinks. So
Mm.
I also understand how it is, it's a trick, not trick, but there's a process to actually have your product to be displayed to sell in the store. So from farmers market to now, it's very accessible to a lot of supermarket and I don't know what you call this, like cafe, health cafe, to
Yeah,
carry
yeah.
your product. So that's amazing. Like how that even made that jump from here to there and just expand
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, well, a couple of things probably went into that, but first and foremost, the team, right? Because like there was farmers markets, very small scale, and then even like some of these small mom and pop shops, a little small scale. But once we started to go into larger distribution, larger grocery, like now you can find us in over 50,000 stores around the
Yep.
US, which is a lot, like you mentioned. But I really have to attribute that to the team, because the team, even though we started with our own brand and culture as founders, the team embodied so much of that energy to just want to go out, like push down walls, push down mountains to make sure there was like, we got the most distribution we could. And then once we were there, I would say focus really helped us, because you don't get to go into like Evie's Cafe unless you
Yeah.
have a strong selling story to warrant you being there, right? So like we had this insane focus on wanting our velocity, basically how often you sell your product in a store. We just wanted it to be the best. So we put a lot of resources to make sure we supported the stores, make sure that if we didn't sell well, we knew why. And that selling story of strong velocity, aligned to the consumer, helped us carry momentum into every store thereafter. So there was that. And then also we had a really quality product that people kept on coming back to because I think they trusted what we made. They
Yes.
felt good after it, right? So it was really, the proof was in the kombucha.
Yeah.
And so they kept on coming back for that.
No, it's true because I can give you my feedback on it because I drink kombucha. So if I can't, like, I know if I get your kombucha, I know I will like it. So like it's consistent. Um, it's been on forever, right? So it's like it can't go bad.
Yeah.
It can't be wrong. So
Yeah.
so it's easy as a consumer if I just need something like healthy to drink and then I don't want soda, I don't want coffee, just no matcha, I want something cold on the run, and then I can always find your drink everywhere. It's very accessible. And then if there was other kombucha or a similar beverage, at least I know this is something I trust. So I just
Yeah.
have it.
Trust.
And not because you're my friend. This is it before I know you were the co-founder. I mean,
Yes.
seriously, ask Vanessa. Well, Vanessa's here. I mean, I didn't even know when we first met for dinner. I have no idea. So
Yeah, totally. Well, no, trust is a big deal because that when we did consumer studies, trust was constantly said back to us, like, we trust the quality of what we're going to
Yes,
get from
it's
Health-Ade.
consistent. Exactly. So how is it like to work with your best friend? Because I always told, do not work or get into business with your best friend or with your friend. No, it's just don't get into business with your friend. But you didn't just go into business with your friend. You actually go into business with your best friend, and you two are still best friend. How is it like to work with your best friend?
I have to say it's always been fairly seamless. And, obviously we had our ups and downs, but I think at the heart of it, there was this care for each other that we knew we never wanted to screw each other over ever on any type of interaction or transaction. We
Oh,
knew that we cared about each other's well-being. So like mental health, like whatever problem we're tackling, when one person was feeling down, we knew, like, we could feel it and we talked about it, and we had the ability to sense that and lift each other up, which
oh,
is
it's
really strong in
beautiful.
a friendship. And then you know you are going to encounter issues, disagreements, how you view certain things, and sometimes they're really tough conversations, and I feel like we never let things fester, we never let things become resentful, we never let things become like a bigger issue than it had to be. We just dealt with it head on, even though at the time it feels like a tough thing to go through. So, and because of that, we always did things in the perspective of what's best for the business. It was never like a
Mm.
personal agenda, really. It
Hmm.
was like, okay, you may think this, I may think this, Justin may think this, but what is best for the business factually, just if we lay it all out, right? And so that's where we always kind of landed. And we worked through our communication. We always had to, it was a discipline to work on it. It's just like
Hmm.
a relationship, right? And so I'm really proud to say we got through the hard parts, and we're stronger for it.
No, that's when you guys always knew that communication and how you guys view on things had to be the best for the company. I mean, do you guys learn that from somewhere? How you guys came to that?
Um, well, I think the heart of it, like, we also, like, we did care about the business. Like, it was all of our first babies, like all of our first business, all of our first, like, real baby, if you will.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I know because
um
you just have two little one. You have
yeah,
like one year old, one is three, right? My
yeah,
God, I don't
exactly.
know how you do it, but
And
yes.
so, and we also knew that if we infused our emotional, personal agenda into the conversation, it starts to become very defensive in conversations. And that's only through personal experience, right? So obviously we had those tense moments, but then we had to like back up and say, like, all right, it's getting really tense. What's
Mhm.
going to be like the best way to the outcome, right? And so it was with that idea that it was like, what's best for the business then, right? So something like that. And it was learned over time.
Wait, hold on. I'm gonna get a sip of the coffee. Oh no, matcha. So
Oh,
now
nice.
I'm coughing. That was a really good skill that I think what you were saying, because I think a lot of time, even business owner, when they have partner, um, it's almost like a marriage, right? So I think the open communication, deal with it, don't build resentment. It applies to any relationship. It applies to your family relationship, your romantic relationship, friendship, and business. So I think that's a really good advice that you were saying. And you're right. It's really hard, right? Because a lot of time you take it personally, so you just have to step back and really think what's the common goal here. And for all three of you, this is the first baby, like, as your baby is only 3 and 1. And
Mhm.
talk about that, how you survive, how are you doing this, how did you like balance everything?
Oh my God. Well, I have to say, when I started Health-Ade, that was 12 years ago, right? And so I was
Hmm.
kind of like, it felt like I was a different person. Like I was still in my 20s. I felt like I had all this energy and like I don't know how I would have started a business at that time. I know many women do, but thankfully when I had my kids, the team at Health-Ade was so strong. Like grade A team, like I could really feel comfortable with setting and delegating things so that
Hmm.
I could take time with my kids. And then also like Health-Ade was at a scale that felt comfortable where like, it's not a newborn needing life. It was like maybe a high school student needing direction, if you will,
Hmm.
know?
Oh, that's a good
Yeah.
description. I like that. The high school in direction. Yes.
Yeah. So like, but I will say when I did have them, I needed to make choices, right? Like I couldn't be the same person I was pre-baby. And I say that because, I used to work a lot and I like after hours, like I had to really
Oh.
have trade-offs around boundaries and like calls and like making sure I took time for myself and
Hmm.
making sure that I didn't do emails on, right? Like just things that I could still be present for the kids, but also present for the business. And it forced me to either delegate things more, be a little bit more rigorous in terms of boundaries and calendar scheduling.
Hmm.
And it actually, I think, made me stronger as a leader because there was only so much time to be decisive. And so, you had to get done what you had to get done during that time.
You know what? That's a good reminder. I think that's the problem. Well, at least that's what I run into, right? And I'm still working on it to set a boundary. And then because we get so busy with so many things and also with our family because we want to be there for our kids and being present. So it's really I'm working on setting the balance and then to balance my life and then also to set boundary and self-care. I think a lot of time it's just at least for me, because there's so many things going on, I feel like I have to see which fire is more near.
Yeah.
Then by the time I finish everybody or I took care of the fire what's going on, I'm exhausted. And then so I kind of like didn't think about, well, it's not like I didn't think about like by the time it get to me, it's almost like the
Right.
time is up. Yeah.
Yes, like on an airplane when they say put on your oxygen mask first, it's like you need to be like good and whole for everything else to thrive too.
Yeah. No, exactly. Thank you. I mean, this is why we have this conversation because a lot of time we need to remind each other, it just when
Yeah.
days start, it just gets so busy. I mean, I'm sure your days start really busy too. How you start your day? What's your average day like?
Well, it's changed a lot since I exited the business in
Hmm.
March.
Hmm.
And I would say like now it's I try to be really intentional about the things I put my energy toward. I am very lucky in that I exited the business and I'm able to spend time with the kids and really put energy toward the things I care about. But usually my day is like, okay, get up. I try and do a couple like what I'm grateful for, intention setting for the day. And then it's like, okay, get the kids ready, get the kids out, like fed, changed, ready for the day, get them to school, like get my 3-year-old to school. And then I spend a lot of time like with entrepreneurs. So I'm either advising, so I'm on like a lot of coaching calls for them.
Hmm.
I'm listening to new businesses in terms of their investment pitches as an angel investor. And I'm really trying to be intentional about carving out time to brainstorm about, my next professional step. So
Hmm.
I think we all know we can't be creative a flip of a switch. So I'm trying to be intentional about what it means to like have a whiteboarding session or a brainstorming session. And I'm trying to move every day. So like whatever that means. So Pilates, Peloton, just movement and gaining strength is important to me now. So by that time it's like basically 5, and then
Yeah, to get the kids.
my son's back at home, and then I call 5 to 8 p.m. like crazy time, because you have to like get the kids fed, get them to bed, all the things, and then you have like 2 hours until to yourself before you go to bed, right? So like in that time I try to reconnect with my husband, catch up with the day and all that stuff.
Oh wow. I mean, it's so fulfilled. When you were telling me about your day, it's just like it's packed, just always thing going.
Yeah.
And I think that is it's like a lot of other entrepreneur, like women entrepreneur that I talk to, they all share a similar schedule. It's just crazy. And when they really get to themselves, they almost have to be very intentional how they spend their time and their energy, because you only have so much, right?
Yeah.
So what would be your next, have you think about what would be your next project or next you wanted to do? Yeah.
Well, that's a good thought. So I have a whole list of businesses I'm interested in starting.
Okay.
And I say that from like, what's a pain that I've encountered, right? So a lot of them span like product related businesses to more like coaching and digital related businesses. But, just what I realized is that, I'm fairly young and I still have a lot more to give, and I really get excited about building. And so I do want to build something again. And I really do enjoy giving back to female founders, Asian American founders, and really trying to be a sounding board for emerging entrepreneurs that I never felt I had in that beginning time period. Sure, I had my co-founders, but I never had anyone outside of that I felt like I could really lean on.
Oh, believe me, and that was so important. That would have saved, I would say that would save a lot of, they would make things easier on the journey, right? When you have a good advisor or sounding board, with the experience.
Totally. So that's really where I'm thinking about. My next step is how to create an ecosystem for entrepreneurs in that way. And then what also exciting to me is, now that I do have kids, I feel like I encounter a lot of kid problems. Like, for example, I want to be able to teach my kids what it means to really value the entrepreneurial spirit, what it means to value and really be like financially savvy. But like, how do you
School
teach
doesn't
that?
teach that. Yeah.
School does not teach that stuff. And I'm like, okay, crazy. So, I think there's an ability to like create some type of social impact business, not a nonprofit, but like a business that like creates like this system for kids to learn something like that, but also give back to kids who may not be as privileged to like buy into some of those programs or whatnot. So like, I'm definitely interested. I have energy there. But what I do know is I want to be able to still have the freedom to choose and not feel like a slave to my business. So I definitely want to live a life fulfilled still, and really curate that day to day in my calendar.
What would be the thing that you think is important for you right now, the next project, right? Because you were saying you want social impact. You want to make sure you don't slave to the job, right? To this thing you're going to create. What else is the other important thing that with your experience and with your life journey that would be something that you wouldn't want to give up, or something is important to you?
Well, I've gleaned a lot of experience from Health-Ade, right? So it's like I have 11 years of building and then just war stories in that way. And so that's where I really want to impart either like a sounding board for other entrepreneurs, like a coaching community, or really
I totally see you doing that. They would love to have
okay,
you.
awesome. So like, I feel like I would want to be in that space, and I'm already in that space for some entrepreneurs. And so I want to be able to proliferate that and see how I can really cultivate that side. And because it's fulfilling to me to be able to see brands grow and, support other entrepreneurs in their journey, because I'm very much
Yeah.
about forward and what that means for, anyone.
Yeah, no, thank you. That's what we need. And, especially for a female founder, we need more of them. And then this is the reason why I do this podcast, right? Because I
Mm,
wish somebody else would tell me, or I wish I would have a sounding board. Because a lot of time when we go into this journey, it can be very lonely, and we don't really have people that we can talk to and help, right? So
yeah, that's
yeah.
a big deal. Uh,
So
yeah.
what would be I always ask all my guests when they're on the show, like looking back with all the doing the just journey and where you are today, like what was the most challenging thing when you built Health-Ade?
Hmm. Money, really. I mean, like, I'll say like the biggest like superficial thing was money. And I say that because we were
Yeah,
growing so fast, we constantly needed to support the growth
yeah.
through fundraising. But I would say really it was like the mental fortitude each day to just bring it, right? So like um, how you're able to fight all the fires that happen in a business, right? Which but then also have the mental fortitude to think through, okay, what needs to happen in 6 months? What needs to happen
Mm.
in a year to really achieve the vision that we want to achieve? And it's like bringing that all together for the team to just be focused and marching in the same direction. And I think that it's that because bad days are going to happen, right? It's how you pick yourself up. It's how you keep on moving forward. And like that was an important piece is like building that mental strength to really keep on going. That was like an ongoing challenge.
Yeah, and then I think everybody, because obviously the company became so successful, and then I think a lot of time when people from outside looking in didn't see the challenge, right? They was like, she must have this, or she must have the skill to be able to get where she's at, or it seemed like there was no challenge at all. And then so what you're saying is, and I think it's really nice for the audience to know, they're always going to be challenged, but it's how
Yeah.
you take it from there. You have to build a mental strength, right? So to
Yeah,
handle, to go
totally.
do, adapt. So what
Yeah.
would be the advice you would give to the younger self of you, if you
Yeah.
know what you know now, and what would you tell the 20-year-old Vanessa who was thinking about doing
Yeah.
this?
I think I would say like, because a lot of it is imposter syndrome, right? That like popped
Mhm.
in, like, can I do this? Like, do I got this? Like, so it's like that type of building the mental strength to actually do the thing I needed to do. So I think I would tell my younger self, like, you got this, like, believe in yourself, like, trust your gut. You may second guess yourself, but just keep on this path, well, I would also tell her wear sunscreen and also drink water, but you know,
Yes.
I would just say like have that confidence to know.
And I'm so like it's you and I both picked the same thing, the imposter syndrome. Because I think
Mhm.
even now, 20 years later, I still have that sometimes. It's still creeping in
Yeah,
sometimes.
totally.
And you just have to like really remind yourself like you got this, and like
Yeah.
everything you just said, trust your gut, and believe in it. You have to believe in it. So when you really believe in something, it was gonna work. Yeah.
I 100% agree. And like, it's that type of belief that leads to manifestation and like ultimately gets you what you desire and like what you envision. But like, just that inner anxiety does it like you can help avoid that if you just really trust your gut.
Yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Vanessa. You and I speak the same language. That's what I always say,
Oh,
and it's funny we both have that imposter syndrome where, we have to work through that. So thank you.
Yeah,
But,
thank you so much, Evie.
and then I hope you feel better. Oh my God, poor you.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry that I look like I'm like rubbing my nose all the
You
time.
know, the good thing about Zoom, it was like it's all filter, so we make it blurry, so it's fine.
Yeah.
And your nose do
Okay.
not look bad at all, I
Okay.
promise.
Cool.
And I would bring you boba next time. We would
Oh
definitely
my
have a
gosh.
boba date.
We definitely need a boba date. So
Yes,
thank
yes.
you.
But thank you
Uh,
for showing up today. So hopefully you get better.
thank you so much for having me.
All right, and then we're done. See, that was easy.
Oh,
That was just having a
okay,
conversation,
cool.
right? So I told
Fun
you.
combo. That's like two girlfriends talking.
Yeah, it is. I mean, that's why the only people on my podcast are like, my girlfriend. So
I
it
love
would be
it.
fine. And then it's also a way to giving back, right? It's like
Yeah.
what other female entrepreneur or young girl, if they wanted to start something, like everything you said, I'm sure that's a lot of what young people going to do. I mean, I know I went through the same thing as you did, and then I honestly, imposter syndrome, I still have that, so I
Yeah, I
have
get
to
it. I
remind
know.
myself, and I'm 46, I
Oh
still
my
have
gosh.
that.
I feel like I would have told myself that too when I was dating, right? Like, cause
Oh
like
yeah, dating
it's
too, right?
oh, why are you going after that toxic relationship?
I
Like
don't
don't.
know. I tell me. You need to tell me because I'm single. I'm still going to do that sometime. So
Well, it's just like I totally like. Well, I as a Virgo, I feel like I was always very guarded, very shielded, and I was just like in toxic relationships because I didn't
wait,
like
how is
believe.
no, but that should be the opposite. I'm like a free. I'm all over the plate, so I go into it without seeing the red flag. When people say,
Oh.
"Where are the red flag and green flag?" I'm like, "What red flag?" I'm the opposite of you. So I would think yours would be fine because you be cautious. I'm just like, yeah.
Well, I think it was that combined with my insecurities. Like I said, as a younger girl, it's like, oh God, insecurities plus imposter syndrome, plus like being guarded. I feel like I never found a real relationship, like
Oh,
like
okay.
strong, right? And
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
fun, whatever. And
Yeah,
then
okay, I can see that. Okay,
yeah.
because yeah, we still end up in the same. Yeah, got it. It's okay. We got it. We'll work on it. But thanks,
Oh,
Vanessa. Hopefully you
thank
feel
you.
better.
Thank you so much. And I hope to see you on Wednesday. I'll definitely try and make it.
Yes. Okay. See
Okay.
you, hopefully. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.